Okay, now the things that we are going to talk about today is a review of last year, but again, a lot of things we learned the year before gets fuzzy, right? Or we forget, right? Okay, so I think all of you should have this graphed. If you were not here, then I would hurry and graph it quickly, okay? But what I want to talk about is I want to talk about some key features. So go ahead and write this at the top of the page. I have one on my desk. Kelsey, right over there if you want to borrow one. Okay, so we will talk about some key features of this graph. So let's start with the domain. Domain is our x value. So what I like to ask kids is, does it go forever to the left and forever to the right? Will it cover the entire x-axis? And this is where you answer the question with a yes or no. Yes, it will, okay? Because it will go this, will keep expanding here to the left and keep going to the right. So the domain is going to be everything, which we write that as negative infinity to infinity, okay? The range is our y values. So does this function, is there ever a point that it will never go below or above on the y-axis? Yes, which point? Right here, which is what on the y-axis? -3, right? So the range goes from -3, and since it actually will touch that -3, then we're going to use a bracket. So the range goes from -3 to infinity, right? Because it will go up forever. Let's see, the next thing is x-intercepts. So how many times does this graph touch or cross the x-axis? 3 times. So we need to list those 3 points. So we have this point, which is -5, 0. And we have this point, the one in the middle, which is -1, 0. This other x-intercept is 2, 0. Now we go to y-intercepts, or intercept. How many times does this function cross the y-axis? Once. And let's just estimate and say that it's at 2. Okay, I know it's really close, but so y-intercept is 0, 2. All right, now we get into the last part, which is usually what students have a harder time with. So let's start with increasing. Now that we wrote in our words worth knowing yesterday that increasing is when a function is going up or rising as we go left to right. So if we're going left to right, think of it like a roller coaster ride, okay? We're going down, then we start to go up right here, right? And then we go down again, and then we go up again. So those intervals in blue, we have to name those according to what x is, not y. So where is x at this point right here? -3. So it's increasing from -3, and we use a parenthesis because it shares that point from where it is going down. It shares that, so we use a parenthesis. Okay? So from -3 to where x is, it looks about like 1/2. We'll say it's 1/2, okay? So -3 to 1/2. Then it goes down, but then it increases again when x is what value? 2 to infinity. So then we're just going to go comma right now, 2 to infinity. So those are the two intervals where it's increasing. Now let's do the opposite, which is decreasing. So if we're going left to right, we're going to go down, which is falling, decreasing, go up, and then we fall down again. So what are those? How can we name those two intervals that are in green right there? Negative infinity, because it's according to x. So negative infinity to where x is negative 3. Good. So negative infinity to negative 3. And then again, it decreases where x is 1/2 to 2. So the 1/2 to 2. Okay, questions on increasing, decreasing. Okay, do you guys remember the other two things? Anybody? Positive and negative. So positive and negative. So positive, and this we wrote in our vocab yesterday, is where the function is above the x-axis. So everything above. So I'm going to just highlight it in black what's above. So we have this part of the function, and then we have this little loop-de-loop, but then is it going to go below right there? No, it's actually going to stay positive. It's just going to touch and go back up. So that is all positive right there. So again, how do we list this part according to x? What do we say? Negative infinity, because it's coming from the left side, negative infinity to where x is, what is that point? Negative 5, because that's one of our intercepts here, right? So we have, it's positive from negative infinity to negative 5. Yeah. Okay, negative infinity to negative 5, and then this interval right here is where x is what? So the rest of this, from this point on right here to the rest of the function, it's positive. So how do I say that? That's where x is negative 1 to infinity, right? Negative 1 to infinity. Now it's negative, just this little loop-de-loop right here. That's where it's negative or goes below the x-axis. So that's where x is what to what? Negative 5 to negative 1. Right? Good. Questions right now? Okay, on this side right here, I want you to just make a note, because students always get this mixed up, is these four especially, but they're according to your x values, not the y. Okay? So list it according to what x is, not y. Okay, and then let's just do 3 more things on here. So we need max or min. Thank you. So we need max or minimum. So is there a point that this function will never go below or above? Okay, so it will never go below this point right here, right? So if your range is not negative infinity to infinity, then you have a max or min. So if our range is negative 3 to infinity, then we have to have a max or a min. And this is going to be a minimum point, right? Because nothing will go below that. So it's going to be a minimum. So we're going to circle minimum, because this is what you'll do on your homework and stuff. Circle minimum, and then what is that ordered pair? What is that point? Negative 3, negative 3. Good, and the last two things, let's do our left end behavior and our right end behavior. So just a quick review, is this an even or an odd function? If it's going up and up. Even, good. And is it going to have a positive leading coefficient or negative? Do you guys remember? Positive. Good. If it's negative, then it will go down and down, right? Okay. Left end behavior. So as x goes to the left, where is the function going, or where's y going? Positive infinity, right? Left end is going to positive infinity. Where's the right end going? Yes. Because it's even, they have the same end behaviors. Okay, any questions right now on this information?